and welcome to City Speaks. City Speaks is a show that was the part of a vision of Mayor Rosas. Mayor Rosas believes in transparency in City Hall, in his administration, and in the way that the city residents have an opportunity to know what's going on. So City Speaks is here for you, the residents. If you have questions, comments, concerns, let us know what you think. Send your questions to me, Vicki Westling, at City Hall, Dunkirk 14048. Email them to me at vwestling@cityofdunkirk.com or drop them off at the clerk's office, and I'll be happy to answer your questions or get answers for them. Today, we have with us Councilman Bamonto and Councilman Civiletto. But before we get started, there are a couple of things that I need to speak to you about. First of all, we have invited our 3rd Ward Councilman Sean Heenan to appear on City Speaks. Right now, he's trying to coordinate his schedule, and hopefully we will have him in the near future. We also had a couple of questions that came in that I should answer at this point. One question came in this morning and said, I read in the paper that we're having sinkholes throughout the city. What's causing these, and what is the mayor going to do about it? So I went to the mayor, and I went to our DPW director, Randy Woodbury. Of course, the mayor is very concerned with the safety aspect of the sinkholes. But the DPW director, Randy Woodbury, also said that there is concern. He said there have been 8 areas that have been reported. They are private collapses of private sewer connections. He went on to say that it is the responsibility of the homeowner to get them fixed. The city is looking at action. What can they take? How can they make this work? How can they keep it safe for our city? City officials recently discussed this problem where there are sinkholes existing between the sidewalk and the curb. Some of them were out on the pavement even. And they talked about this during a recent Public Works meeting. Director Woodbury told the committee members that these are private house connections which are owned privately by each homeowner. Some people don't realize that they own both the water and the sewer connection from the house all the way to the city main. The street department puts barricades there to make it safe. Mayor Rosas' main concern is for the safety of our residents and visitors to the city. But at the same time, once it is determined that the homeowner is responsible, they're responsible for covering all of the involved cost, and they will have 30 days to make the repair. Otherwise, the city will fix it, and all cost will be the responsibility of the homeowner. Or, if the city can't fix it, they'll hire someone out to do the job for them. However, if the homeowner does not pay and reimburse the city for all costs involved, the cost can be added to their tax bill. So that's what's happening. The city is responding, and hopefully they will be taken care of soon. If you have questions or concerns, if you have a sinkhole in your area, you should call the Department of Public Works at 366-9832. The second question that came in was regarding the upcoming boat race. I had a resident call and say that they live on North Martin Street, and will they be able to park on their street during the weekend of August 17th through the 19th. I sent this question to our Special Events and Festivals Coordinator, Hector Rosas, who told me that yes, side streets, there will be parking permitted. However, Lakefront Boulevard will be closed from North Serval Street to Main Street, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the entire weekend of the boat race. So please know that you can do that. So, having said that, I have our councilman here, our 4th Ward Councilman Mike Civiletto and 2nd Ward Councilman Marty Bamonto. So let's get started, guys.
All right.
You guys are very busy now. Councilman Civiletto, you are on a couple of committees. You're on the Economic Development Committee, you're on the Public Safety Committee. Tell me a little bit about what's going on and how busy you must be.
Well, the Public Safety Committee is right now talking about all of the preparations we have to do for the boat race coming up in the next couple of weeks, and that's pretty much the main thrust of what's going on with the fire chief and the police chief. They're coordinating with the Coast Guard and the Department of Homeland Security, and we've got a lot of little details that they have to work out, but they're right on schedule and everything's going well. So I'm not expecting any problems with that.
Great. And so we've also done some other things as far as our safety committee goes. We've done some work with our fire halls. So those things are happening as well.
Yeah, and we just ordered a new ambulance for the fire department, and we're looking. One of the things we're going to have to look into the future. Our hook and ladder truck is, I think, 30 years old, and those are very expensive. So, but we definitely need to look into ordering a new one, and hopefully within the budget in the next year or two we can handle that, because it's something that's, you want to be at the edge of technology when things like your home is in danger, and you want to make sure that the fire department has everything at their disposal that they can use.
And one of the things that we've done in the way of safety is the Howard Avenue Bridge, because for how many years that the residents didn't have fire protection?
Yeah, it was
there?
like 15 years.
Right.
Yeah, so the Howard Avenue Bridge is now running, and fire trucks can go over it, and we have the hydrants and water hooked up to the other side of the bridge. So now we actually have a hydrant there. So all of those people along that area can feel safe, because if something happens, the fire department can get to them quickly.
That's great. And of course, Mayor Rosas, when he came into office, that was one of the first things that he really wanted to make sure that we did. And Councilman Bamonto, you have got a lot going on also. You're on the Personnel Committee, which gives you, I'm sure, plenty of work to do. But in addition to that, you're involved in the recreation aspect of what's happening in the city. What are we doing with our kids? So how busy are you there?
Well, we just opened up the splash pad earlier this summer, and I've been riding by there every weekend, and my nephews are in town from out of town, and the place is just packed, and it looks great. I mean, a lot of feedback from the community about how beautiful it is, and the bathrooms got redone down there. We have an outside shower. As Councilman Civiletto was with me there for a 5K race.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
We announced to everybody there is a shower there because it was a hot day similar to today.
Similar to today, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And now we had a home run derby. Tell me, what was that about? That was the first time in the city, wasn't it?
That was the first time that I've been involved in recreation for 37 years, and that's the first time I've seen a home run derby run by the rec department, if anybody else. And that was pretty cool. The kids that signed up, they came, they had a great time. The parents came out, and it was sort of like a father and son thing, because the dad would pitch to the boys and the girls, and because it was open for girls and boys, and that was a time for them to be together and have a good time. And then they were going to show a movie at night, and then the rain came down, so we had to cancel the movie out in center field.
Oh, well, that's too bad, but I know that was very good. And then we also have the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We've
Yes.
done that before. We're doing that
Yes.
again, right?
Last year was the first year we did the 3-on-3 basketball tournament for boys and girls also, and we had it on Central Avenue in front of City Hall. We called it Street Jam. And this year, that was well attended. This year we plan on doing the same thing again, possibly the end of this month.
Oh, wow, okay. And now our recreation center and our recreation department, we really have done some things. For instance, we now have movie nights.
Correct.
We have, indoor hockey?
Yes, at the rec center.
All at the rec center. And our softball and baseball tournaments, are those just about winding down now?
Well, you would think so, but no. We just finished the co-ed softball league, and men's fast pitch league is winding down, but we're going to start up a new men's league just for the fall. And there's a couple more tournaments actually coming up that just came in recently, and there's going to be a couple more tournaments played on our fields, which is great. I think this is one of the biggest years we've had with multiple tournaments. And then a football season's coming up, and there's going to be a meeting on the 14th of August, and we play at the Dunkirk High. They're so kind to us to let us play on Sundays, run our leagues at the high school football field.
So you really are busy. And now we talk about some of the things that are new to Wright Park. Wright Park has really become a destination.
Definitely.
We have the splash pad, we have pickleball courts, and one of the things that, in addition to the splash pad, that the mayor really wanted was to have the ice hockey go on. Tell me about that.
Well, first let's go back to the pickleball courts. That's one of the fastest growing sports around any age, and they're all set up down there. They can have multiple courts going on. They just take the nets down, and you just go inside and see Mr. Doltz at the hut there, and he'll give them out to you. You'll have access to paddles, balls, no charge. You just need some ID, and there's a little foosball, not like the foosball when we were kids, but you actually go out there and play
futsal. I think it's called.
a smaller version of soccer with a smaller ball, and they have the nets out there for the kids. And I was watching my nephews played it, and they absolutely loved it. But getting onto the ice rink, that pad they put in there for all the pickleball, we're going to be able to flood it in the winter and try to play some ice hockey on there, and skate as well.
That's great. So now
And there's light, and there's also
go ahead.
It's going to be lit up. We have lights there.
So will this be an organized ice hockey program, or will this be?
We're going to have to talk to our recreation coordinator, and possibly, we have to have the winter to do it. Meaning, if you might only have ice hockey for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden you have a thaw. So we're going to have to coordinate that. Maybe we'll just have open hockey, and we'll invite the kids down, and we'll have some type of thing with hot chocolate. Those are my ideas, and then see if we can go
Well, I
from
don't
there.
skate, but I drink hot chocolate.
Absolutely, I don't skate either. Vicki. And also, in part of our phase 1 down there, the basketball courts up on Serville Street, or it's Warsaw Street. Warsaw Street just got redone, and I'm telling you, they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I mean, years and years and years, there's been a crack going right across the basketball court. You couldn't play full court. That's how big the crack was, and I went out there on my own and just took a look at it, and man, it's beautiful. Now you can play full court, and we can have some leagues down there.
One of the things that's happened with Wright Park, and certainly with all of our parks in the city, is that they really are being not just made more child-friendly or family-friendly, but there is a lot going on with these parks. From Wright Park with their splash pad, with all of the donations and the grants that came in, with the basketball courts, we've got the Little League plays down there.
Right.
We have a lot happening, and then of course Point Gratiot with our beaches. But let me go back to the Little League for just a moment.
Sure.
We recently had at Shorewood Country Club, there was the tournament, I think, with the Cardinal Mazzini High School, Dunkirk, and Fredonia High School.
Correct.
Played, and there was a donation made. Now, you were a part of that.
My brother runs that tournament with another gentleman named Mr. Cashone, and I go there and help him out, and I just go to the dinner. That's my part. But the proceeds from that tournament, it goes to the Dunkirk Fredonia Little League boys and girls. And I don't know what the numbers were on that yet, but that was pretty big number.
Right. I think that I really like 7,500 or something, and I'm not sure if that's correct.
Something like that, because the donations were, after that tournament was on Friday, they had another donation time on Saturday and another donation time on Sunday. So those numbers are still not in there. They're still coming in.
So one of the things that's happening in the city of Dunkirk, we're not just worried about bringing businesses in, although economic development is critical to doing that, but this mayor and his administration and our council, certainly the two of you, are very involved out in the community. I mean, I see you wherever I go. I see you involved with families, with children, because people want to know what our council people are doing. What kinds of things are happening? You're not just sitting behind a desk somewhere, or you're not just showing up at a meeting. You're actually out in the community and actually working, and that really speaks highly for the both of you, as well as our other council members as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When it comes to being a council person, it's going out into the community and making sure that you're at the different openings and the different events. It has more to do or less to do with you're getting your face out there. It's more to do that. It's more to do with showing your support for the people who are volunteering their time, the people who are going out there and they're doing things. And I want to say thank you. I'm going to be there as much as I can be to make sure that that I appreciate you, the city appreciates you, and anytime that there's a not-for-profit who's going to do something or there's volunteers opening something, I want to make sure that I'm there, and Marty does it as much as I do, to go to their events and say, look, you're so important to this community, and without people like that, the community just doesn't, it's not as strong.
So I think that's true, and I've heard that from throughout it. When I go to music on the Pier and any of the events happening in the city, you know, I'm always running into our council people, and certainly the two of you. So I think that's really great. So kudos to both of you. Let's talk about economic development. We have a bunch happening.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
Tell me what's going on.
Well, the Economic Development Department is just fantastic. We have people in there that are professionals, people with urban planning degrees, people that know what they're doing when it comes to not only writing grants, but what to do with the money when it comes in. That's always been something that I look for when I'm talking to someone in economic development. You know, can you not only bring the money in, but do you know what to do with it once you have it? And Rebecca Yanis and Matt Burke and E.J. Hayes and Hector Rosas and Roberto Rosas, they know what to do with the money when it comes in and how to actually create. We're kind of like in phase one when it comes to economic development. We're in that part where we're trying to make our parks look good. We're trying to make our waterfront look good, because when we have things like Athenex coming in and we have people that are possibly going to want to come and live here, one of the things they're going to ask is, so what can my kids do, or what can I do on the weekend, or if I'm not working, what does this city look like? And we've put over $1 million into the parks in the last year. $600,000 into Point Gratiot, thanks to Kathy Young, and we've put over $500,000 into Wright Park. We've gotten a grant from the Rotary Club to finish the splash pad up. Without that grant, we wouldn't have been able to do the splash pad. So there's, you know, a lot of people coming out from the community and helping us too. But to be able to say, hey, move to Dunkirk or stay in Dunkirk because we have all these things that are just fantastic. And it's kind of a strange thing to say, but if you haven't gone to the bathroom at Point Gratiot, you need to go to the bathroom at Point Gratiot, because they're beautiful. You go in there and they smell good. We have someone that's cleaning them every single day. Yes. And you know, it's a public bathroom that looks like it's in the middle of a hotel. It's just it's fantastic.
A lot of compliments we've been getting on those bathrooms. Believe it or not.
I know it's kind of a strange thing.
You know,
it's the little things that people notice, and especially when tourists come in and they say, oh, you know, the grounds were kept so nicely and the bathrooms were clean, and you know, when you go to a restaurant, that's what you say. Hey, was the bathroom clean? Because if the bathroom is clean, you know the kitchen's clean. Well, if our bathrooms are clean in the public area, then we know that then people feel comfortable that the rest of the park is going to be clean.
Well, you know, you mentioned the cost of what these things are.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing about all of this, with both parks, with the Wright Park and with Point Gratiot, is taxpayer dollar. Our taxes were not affected by that, because those do come from grants and donations. And you mentioned our Director of Development, Rebecca Yanis, and our Special Events Coordinator, Hector Rosas. Those individuals, and certainly Matt Bork and E.J. Hayes, they work very hard to secure these grants. And so what we have in the city is a result of their hard work and their labor and their foresight, which brings us to comprehensive plan.
Yes. Now, speaking of foresight, people have probably heard me say this before. When I came here in 2012, you know, I grew up here, but then I left and came back. And in 2012, one of the things I started doing was researching how Dunkirk can actually move forward. How can they progress? Because I lived down south and I saw the progression that happens there, the continuous building and the new things that were happening, and things were kind of static here, and they had been static here for a long time. So one of the things that I found out was that you need a progressive, comprehensive plan. And what a comprehensive plan does is it basically sets out the plan for what you're going to do in the future, and it says in words, this is where and with maps, this is where we want this to go, and this is where we want this to happen, and this is how we want the future of Central Avenue to look. So I think in the past what has happened, we've had developers come in and they've said, we'd like to develop here, and then you get the politics of it, and you get people going, well, we don't want that here, we want this over here, and then they say, no, we don't want it, and finally the developer just says, forget it, I'm leaving. You know, I'm going to go someplace where they have a comprehensive plan, because what that does is, when someone has a comprehensive plan, they can come in and say, hey, we wanted to open up a hotel, or we want to open up a restaurant, or we want to put down a medical facility or a business. Where can we do it? Well, in the comprehensive plan, it says, well, you can do it here or here. And if you do it here or here, it's already zoned, and nobody's going to argue with you about it. So they go, okay, phew, and it's going to be really easy. It's like putting a piece into a puzzle. So that's what the comprehensive plan is going to give us. It's going to give us the opportunity to say yes to developers instead of saying, give us a second, we're going to have to figure this out first.
Well, and I think that's great, and I think that planning is important. I always believe that, that we have to have a plan. We need to know where we're going. If we don't know where we're going, any road will take us there, right?
Right.
So we have to be careful with that. And of course, we've got a Phoenix coming in. That's going to affect the staffing for the city of Dunkirk, certainly. And of course, we have our new HR director, David Campola, who is all ready and all geared up and ready for this, because once a Phoenix comes, they may pull some of our labor force away. How are we? Are we ready, Mr. Personnel Committee person?
That's a little bit down the road for permanent positions. We'll with our meetings coming up, we'll discuss that and see how that goes.
Okay, so we'll look at staffing when we get to our budget process, when we deal with our compensation.
Budget process, how many people we lose, and we're probably going to have some retirements involved in there too. So those jobs will have to go up for bid, and there'll be some positions opening up down the road.
And then we talk about economic development. We've got Battery Point Villas that's coming.
Yeah, and with the Phoenix, that's the thing that concerned me when I ran. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, hey, we've got a Phoenix coming. We have some other possible businesses that are going to attach to that. We may have an increase in population, or we may have people who now want to buy a home because they haven't been able to buy a home, but now they have a good job at the Phoenix or at this other ancillary business that pops up. They want to buy a house. Unfortunately, our housing stock in Chautauqua County is the oldest housing stock in the entire country. 1959 was the average house was built in Chautauqua County, and Dunkirk is right in there, if not even older. It's hard to find a house that was built before 1960 or after 1960. Most of our houses, my house was built in 1920, so it's almost 100 years old.
Mine too.
And that's common. But people that are moving here, or younger people, they want new houses, they want good houses, they want houses they don't have to fix up. So that's going to have to be something that we have to concentrate on, is rehabbing the houses that we have here. How do we get home ownership? Because also what comes with home ownership is an upsurge in pride of your community, and also home ownership is community ownership too, because then people are going to take pride in their houses, and housing will start to look better, yards will start to look better. The less rentals we have in the city, the better it's going to be for the city as a whole, not only for our tax bases, but for the quality of life for the people who live here, and for the buy-in to the community. We're going to have people that will feel like they live here in Dunkirk and they want to live here in Dunkirk.
Now that brings us to the project that's going on Main Street, the Stell project. So that is really happening, and I have people say to me, what are those green hoses hanging out along the lawn, and what's going on? How many houses are they doing? Tell me a little bit about that Stell project.
Well, a lot of that is going on in my ward. So so I did a lot of research on it to try to figure out exactly what they were doing, because a lot of it happened before I became councilman, so I wanted to really know what was going on. I got the plans, and basically what it is, it's for first-time homeowners. It is not a giveaway for people who don't have jobs or whatever. It's none of that. What we're looking at is 25 houses. 13 of them, I believe, are rehab. 12 of them are they're raising them and rebuilding. And what these are is someone who gets into this home, and the first person who is available to get it is disabled veterans get the first shot, and veterans get the second. Also, people who were displaced in the first place are asked if they want to come back and be in this program. But they can try to get into this house, and when they get into this house, if they live there for 15 years, they're going to have to take classes on home ownership, on how to keep your credit up, how to pay your bills, how to be a homeowner. And after 15 years of being in there, a portion of their rent every month is going to go into an escrow. That escrow can only be used for maintenance for the house. So when they get the house, after 15 years, they're going to get the house at a little discounted rate from Stell. But they're also going to have this escrow account that sits there that now they own the house has been maintained by Stell for 15 years. They've been paying rent on this house. But also, if something happens at, 15 years is about the time when things start to go bad. You maybe need a new paint job. Maybe your heater needs to be replaced. The water heater, anything like that. Then that escrow is now able to be used for the maintenance, and so it gives someone a sense of ownership again, and the feeling that once I have that house, I actually have some money to fix it up too. So that's going to create a fantastic. We're going to have brand new houses on the most visible stretch of Dunkirk when you're coming in from the thruway, and they're going to be brand new houses or rehabbed houses, and there's going to be people in there that care about their own homes. So it's going to be really cool.
That is great. Now, Councilman Bamonto, you're in your middle of your second term as a councilman.
Correct.
What kinds of things have you seen? What kinds of positive changes? Because even though you're chairperson for the Personnel Committee, you sit on other committees.
Yes, I'm on the DPW committee, and I'm also sit on the Safety Committee with Councilman Civiletto.
So while you've been a councilman, what kinds of positive things have you seen happen? What kinds of things are you looking forward to having happen?
Well, the things that have happened is basically what we covered today. Howard Street was big, and that was also at no taxpayers' money. Just getting back to that. The Point, Wright Park, what we're doing with our other parks in the community, and we also have Phase 2 coming next year with Wright Park. All the details ain't out yet, so I don't want to say anything until, but there's going to be Phase 2.
Okay,
And
good.
looking forward, we want to keep building on what we've already started. It would be great when Athenex gets in here, those villas get going, and the hotel we're close.
We are close. I had a conversation with Mayor Rosas today, who told me that we are just right there, ready to get the hotel moving, which
fantastic.
is going to be great to have another 5-star hotel right on our waterfront.
That'd be beautiful.
Our waterfront is moving. Our waterfront is growing. The city of Dunkirk is growing. And those things are really critical. Those things are really happening to our city. So one of the things that I want to talk about just a little bit is about the different changes that have taken place, the things that have happened within the city, and the things that are that are ongoing certainly, but that are going to happen. But we have the boat race coming,
Yes.
which is enormous.
Yes.
It's going to be a huge weekend.
Huge.
Right? We have Music on the Pier that's winding down. I think the last one of that is the end of August. And that has just been an enormous success. So our development department has really worked in that area.
That Music on the Pier is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It seems like there's more things, and then credit to Hector Rosas. I mean, we're getting more things going on. When we first started even before we got here, Thursday on the pier, you walk in the pier and you just walk straight down and you saw the band.
Yeah, and that was it.
And now things are growing up, popping up each year, and more people the vendors want to get involved now, and we want to get involved. We want to be a part of it.
Well, and it was one band before, and the season was shorter, and
Right.
now it's 2 bands.
2 bands. We have the local
Right.
warm-up band.
Right, and so the season is much longer.
And really what the Music on the Pier is for is not so much for that Thursday, for that day, but it's to get people to get used to going down to the pier and going down to the boardwalk, going down to the waterfront, and saying, hey, just because it's Wednesday doesn't mean I can't go down there and enjoy everything that's going on down there too. So I think more people are going down there because of the Thursday on the pier, not just going down for the music on Thursday, but throughout the entire week they're enjoying all of the new businesses that are popping up along Lakeshore Drive. And
Our waterfront is really becoming a destination.
yes, and that's what we want.
And now I just want to touch briefly on National Night Out. National Night Out has our police chief, our fire chief, fire trucks, police cars, children are there.
Yes, and it's fantastic. The police chief, I believe it's his 25th year.
25 years for National
Fantastic,
Night Out.
and he's been a big part of that. The reason that it's been going every year and stayed going every year.
And the other thing that I want to talk about is our school resource officer that's coming on, our SRO. And thanks to Mayor Rosas, working with our superintendent of schools, our police department, our PBA, as well as our the school board, and getting an SRO. And that's a real safety issue. Our parents are calling for it, the children are calling for it. And the SRO is not going to be a cost to the city. The Dunkirk School District will pay every penny of the cost of that SRO, and that is important to know. So we will have an SRO in our school next year. which is important because when people want to come to a new city, they ask for three things. They want to know what's the economy, and we're building. Our economic development team is building. They want to know how's our safety. We could not have a better, more professional, more efficient fire and police department. And they want to know about our schools. So those things are happening. So I think that it's great, and good job to the two of you and certainly to Mayor Rosas. I want to thank you all for watching City Speaks. Our next show will feature our police chief, David Ortolano, and our fire chief, Mike Edwards. Again, if you have questions, comments, concerns, please let me know what they are. Send them to me, and I'll be happy to address them on air. Thank you. And thank you, Councilman.
Thank
you
you
for
very
being
much.
here.